Hi everyone, my name is Efta and today I want to talk a little bit about values and money. When you say the term cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin, it really has a negative connotation to it. It's used for criminal activities and stuff like that. It cannot be tracked. Like many people don't even understand how it works and they presume it's bad or that it's just used for this shady activity. When in reality, cash is used for more shady activities than cryptocurrencies, but we'll get to that. Today I want to talk a little bit about cryptocurrencies and why you need to understand at least a concept of how they work, right? Because I believe that cryptocurrencies are the future of our whole economy, basically. Because once you understand how it works, you realize it's a really better system than what we have now. Or you might wonder, like, why is it a better system? Our system works fine. Well, have you gone to the store yet in these days? The prices are ridiculously inflated, and that's a direct consequence of how the money system works, right? Because they don't teach you this in school, and they don't teach you because it's not in their interest for you to know that, right? Because the system would fall apart, I guess, if everyone would realize how bad it is, right? And that's why we need a different system. So let's talk about cryptocurrencies and why they are a better system. So the first cryptocurrency that was created was Bitcoin back in like 2009, 2008, 2009. At first, people thought it was just some ridiculous idea, right? So you have this decentralized internet money. Like, what is that? And today, Bitcoin is worth like a hell of a lot more than it first started. Like Bitcoin started, I don't know, was like around $1 or $2 or something like that, and then just blow up. Today we have a bear market and everything is like, the prices of everything are going down, and Bitcoin, price of one Bitcoin is still $20,000, so still big deal, right? And why did that happen? Like, what is it about Bitcoin that made it drive the price so much? Well, there are a couple of factors actually there. The biggest one is that there is a total cap. So when you think about dollars and when you think about currency that we have today, there is no cap on how many of that currency can be printed. Essentially, a government of any country can decide just to print more money, essentially. And there is no law that says you cannot do that. They can just, if they wanted, they could just write a new law and say, we can fucking print more money. We need more money. Give us more money, right? Because that's how we humans, we are really emotion based. The way around that is to actually create a system where you cannot do that. So there is a limit on how much money you can print. And that's exactly what happened to Bitcoin. The person or the people who created Bitcoin, they went under a pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto. And they decided that Bitcoin should have, let me just check so I don't give you the wrong number, because I would hate to give you a wrong information here. So 21 million. Okay, so the total number of Bitcoins in existence is 21 million. There will never ever be more Bitcoin than that, right? Reason why Bitcoin appreciates in value because it has what's called 4-year halving cycle. When Bitcoin was first launched, not all of the Bitcoin was available to anyone who just wanted to buy it, right? So you could buy some Bitcoin, but a lot of it was locked in these mining operations. And mining operation, it's kind of like mining gold. But you do it with a computer. So you let a computer run a specific program, and depending on how good hardware that computer has, the more Bitcoin it would mine, right? But the amount of Bitcoin that it could mine would have in 4 years, right? So every 4 years, the amount that they can mine halves. So every 4 years, the price of Bitcoin would have this like huge spike. If you look at the cycles of Bitcoin and how its price went up, so every 4 years, like the price would go up because there's less and less Bitcoin entering the market, right? And there is more and more demand for it, so the price of Bitcoin just goes up. That's how it was created in the start. So that's why the price of Bitcoin, in theory, will never just plummet down, because there is more and more demand for it and there is less and less Bitcoin, right? So it's kind of it's designed as the perfect store of value, right? It's the basics of supply and demand, right? If there is more of something, it's less valuable. And if there is less of something, it's more valuable. So that's why these unique pieces of art, that's why so many NFTs sell at these ridiculous prices because there is not that much of it and there is a lot of demand for it, right? On the other hand, when you have a lot of something and not a lot of people really need it, the prices for it, usually the value of it, I should say, goes down, right? But the thing is that it can happen to money as well, because if you print a lot of money, if you print a lot of dollars, then a power of $1 goes down, right? What could be bought with $1 back in 70s and 80s cannot be bought with $1 today, right? You need $10 or $20 or whatever, you know? An interesting idea that people don't think about. When you have cryptocurrencies, you have this coin that basically cannot increase in supply. And you might ask, like, well, how do you know that it cannot increase in supply? Well, there is a provable limit on how many Bitcoins can be created. So let me compare Bitcoin to the traditional paying system. So let's say you go to buy something and you swipe your card and they have to actually check with the servers of the bank, and those servers are centralized, so they are owned by the bank. And there is a ledger there, a ledger being just a list of transactions, if you will, and they check your account that is connected to your card, right? And they see if you have enough money, and if you do, they deduce the total cost of the item you just bought, and they input the sale basically gets recorded on the ledger. Then it gives confirmation to the store, and the store says, okay, your payment is okay. And in the process, they take some of the profit from the transaction, right? So a small percentage gets the bank, Visa or MasterCard or whatever. That's how they are able to sustain they have to provide service. So that's how they make money on it. You have your money, but you also don't own it because it's owned by someone else. And that system, it's called custodial system. So you give custody of your money to someone else. So it's a custodial system. Cryptocurrencies are basically revolving around non-custodial wallets and non-custodial principles of owning your money. So you don't have to give custody of your money to anyone, and you can still own your money and you can still access it whenever you want to or whenever you need to without someone telling you, no, you cannot do that. That's why the cryptocurrencies are actually so cool, because you essentially own your money for real. Just like you would own cash, you now own it, but on a blockchain wallet. You might wonder, like, how do you know that you own it? This is how it works. Your wallet is available on the blockchain. Your wallet is always there, and anyone can see your wallet, and anyone can see the contents of your wallet and how much money is in there. They don't have to necessarily know that it's your wallet. So it's kind of semi-anonymous. So a government, they could issue a law where they say that a person has to be connected to a certain wallet, and then they would know that it's you, right? Otherwise, no, you can create a wallet today and nobody will know that it's your wallet. So most of the wallets are accessed by something that's called seed phrase. It's a combination of 24 words. Sometimes it's 12, like sometimes it's 24. It depends on the blockchain, but most of the time it's like 24 words. And it's just random words in a string that you have to write down whenever you create your wallet. If you like create your wallet on your computer, later on, if this computer burns or your house burns down or whatever, or you're exiled to another country, or you fucking die, a member of your family can still take that seed phrase and open your wallet and get to the funds, right? So whoever has access to that seed phrase has access to that money forever, right? This wallet, the way the blockchain works, it will remain on the blockchain forever because it's constantly copied on every computer on the network. So your money is as safe as it can be. So a solar flare would need to happen to wipe all electronics on Earth at once. But if that happens, then we're in bigger trouble than just you're not being able to access your funds, right? Then everything, the whole system depends on electronics and computers and everything. So there is a saying, not your keys, not your money. So what that means is that when you go to buy some of the Bitcoin or some of the Ethereum or some of the Cardano, you have to open an account on an exchange. An exchange being just, it can be an app on your phone where you just register. They most of the time ask you to input your name and your scan your ID or whatever. Essentially open a wallet with them but it's a custodial wallet, and that's really important to note. This is a custodial wallet that it's in their custody, and they just open it for you, and you can buy cryptocurrency from them. So they have an access to a lot of cryptocurrencies, and you can buy the, like, most of them have like the most popular ones for sale, right? And you can buy it from them, and then they store it on the wallet that you opened on that app. A really important thing is to learn about the cryptocurrency that you're trying to buy and open a non-custodial wallet, and as soon as you buy those funds from them, you have to transfer them to your own non-custodial wallet, because that's the only way that you actually own that money, right? If it stays, you can keep it on that exchange whenever you want to trade it. So for example, if it goes in price, you might want to sell it. If it's a big amount of money, and if it's something that you're like your life savings or something, then you probably want to keep it on a non-custodial wallet. This exchange can go down, and their apps could stop working or whatever, and you cannot access your money anymore. So keep that in mind. And that's all cool, right? This is where like payment like cryptocurrencies would come in play down the line, because you have to check with different servers. The biggest difference between Bitcoin and fiat is that transactions are validated by multiple people. So not just one server confirms transactions. Instead, anyone who is running a Bitcoin or a cryptocurrency server has to validate your transaction in order for the transaction to go through. Now, when I say everyone, I don't really mean everyone. This is really simplified, but this is kind of how it works. You need 51%, so majority of servers have to confirm your transaction in order for the transaction to go through, right? So you cannot say you have 5 Bitcoins if you have none, right? The other servers on the networks will see that you don't have it, and they will say, no, you cannot do that, right? So that's how they provide like security. And whenever they validate your transaction, they get a part of that transaction. So they get a small percentage. That's how they fund themselves, right? So that's the biggest difference. So in both cases, you have someone providing transaction confirmation and getting something out of it. But in this case, there are multiple parties included, right? So multiple people have to confirm your transaction. And this is called, this technology that Bitcoin is based on is called blockchain. Those transactions are stored in blocks of data shared between all of the computers on the network. So everyone has a copy of that ledger. So in case that something happens to one server, everyone else still has a copy of your transaction on them. It's kind of like you can never get rid of a computer virus, but in this case, the computer virus is the blockchain itself, right? So you turn something, a good property of something that is bad, and use it for something like a blockchain technology. So in a way, this system is actually more durable than the old fiat and banking system, because this ledger will stay around forever, because it's, if you think about it, it's constantly being copied and updated with new transactions. So it's just added upon, added upon, added upon. If you wanted, you can check any transaction that happened on the specific blockchain, right? So it's very, when you think about it, it's very regulatory friendly. So it's only a matter of time before cryptocurrencies get regulated, because it's actually easier to regulate cryptocurrencies than it is to regulate cash, because cash cannot be tracked. You can give cash to someone and no one has to know that this transaction occurred, because it's physical and it's direct exchange, right? So there is no intermediary there that gets some amount of that transaction for providing his service, right? There is no note of any transaction there. Bitcoin is actually just one of the cryptocurrencies, provided a really unique way for looking at value and money, but so Bitcoin still has flaws. The biggest one being that it's not very scalable. Scalable meaning that you cannot perform many transactions per second. In fact, Bitcoin can only process 7 transactions per second, which is really, really low, right? So it was never intended to be used in a global kind of way, but it provided the general idea and the basis for creating something better, right? Because that was just the prototype, if you think about it. Other people who wanted to develop their own cryptocurrencies had a place to start, right? And today you have these crazy cryptocurrencies that can perform multiple millions of transactions per second. But there's another problem, like with the occurrence of cryptocurrencies, a lot of companies appeared who wanted to do it in a centralized way. So they would provide a ledger, but the ledger would still remain centralized, even though it's a cryptocurrency, right? Visa can process 24,000 transactions per second, right? And that's because they are centralized. When you are centralized, it's kind of easier to do it fast, right? You don't have to copy the thing all over the world to everyone, and then everyone has to confirm it. So it's kind of really slow, right? But people found ways to circumvent that. And there is this thing that's called the blockchain trilemma. None of the blockchains so far have succeeded to solve the blockchain trilemma. It is a problem that consists of solving three things in cryptocurrencies. One is scalability, so being able to provide a lot of transactions per second. The other one is decentralization, not have one server, but instead have many servers on the network, right? And the third one is security, because if you have decentralization, now you are decentralized, and that's okay, but there can be a lot of hacks because the network is so, what is the word I'm looking for? Dispersed, right? So none of the blockchains so far solved this trilemma, but many of them provide great promises of doing that. And one of them is Cardano. Cardano is a blockchain that is based on scientific approach. It's based on peer review. So whatever they implement is rigorously studied and tested, and before they launch it, it really goes through a lot of trials to see if there are any bugs. Right now, Cardano is sitting at the 7th place in market cap. Market cap being multiplication of the price. In this case, Cardano's native coin is ADA. So Cardano's market cap would be the price of one ADA multiplied by the total number of tokens on the network. So Cardano at one point had a value of $3.10 per ADA. Since then, it dropped like 90% in value. Now it's worth like 35 cents. This is one of the reasons I wanted to start talking about Cardano more, right? Because you have a lot of people coming in when the prices start to go high. All of those people are just in the ecosystem because they see that the prices are going high and they just ride the wave. They will tell you anything. It's easy to convince you to do something, to buy cryptocurrencies when they are performing well. This is precisely the point why I wanted to talk about this, because Cardano dropped like 90% in value, and it's still the most promising blockchain out there, right? Because I spent the last 2 years learning about it and listening to YouTube videos and reading about how it implements all the things that they implement, and I've been watching them doing these hard forks. Hard forks being just a fancy term to say updating the blockchain, so adding more capabilities to it. So for example, Bitcoin never had the capability of introducing NFTs on it. NFTs being non-fungible tokens. Touched on the subject, let's talk about it as well. There are fungible tokens and non-fungible tokens. So fungible tokens are the tokens like ADA, for example. So one ADA, you can always trade one ADA for another ADA and it would be the same. There would be no difference between it. You can funge it. But if something is non-fungible, then you cannot funge it with another asset and still have the same thing, right? So a non-fungible token, you can also think of the word as being unique. It's a really loose translation, but that's actually what it is in practice, right? It's a unique token that only you have. Depending on demand for that token, it can have a big price, right? If there is not a lot of demand, then the price does not have to be big, right? So for example, Bitcoin never had the capability of having NFTs on the network because it was never designed to have that capability. On the other hand, Cardano, last year, they essentially upgraded the whole blockchain to provide the ability to create not only NFTs, but you can create other fungible tokens on the network now, right? Another big blockchain is Ethereum. So Cardano is a really big competitor to Ethereum because it solves many more problems than Ethereum does. So Ethereum really exploded in 2017 because it was one of the first blockchains that provided the same thing to create other tokens on the network. So essentially you can go and create your own token on the network, right? It exploded so much that a lot of people started using Ethereum. The way Ethereum works, so every time you want to transact on Ethereum, you have to pay a price. It's called a gas fee. People first started using it, it was okay, it was acceptable, but when a lot of people started coming to the network, the gas fee increased so much that today, if you have like $50 in Ethereum, you cannot put it anywhere. You cannot do anything with it because the gas fees are so high that it could potentially eat up your whole your whole portfolio, right? All of your money just to transact it. That's how high fees on Ethereum are right now. So a lot of other blockchains are actually trying to compete with Ethereum now, right? They are trying to be the second, take that second place below Bitcoin. And in my mind, that in the next bull run, Cardano really has a great potential to actually do that. Nothing I say is financial advice though, so don't go and spend all your money on ADA. I'm gonna talk a lot more on this channel about Cardano and Cardano NFTs. If you'd like to learn more and to follow me on my journey and learn about other projects that I support, consider subscribing, drop a comment. I will be doing my own NFT project and I will be launching it later. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you engage with the content as much as possible. It's gonna help me out to get out there. Cardano community is a really great community and it's great to be part of that community, and I want to start this this video series on my channel to support all other creators on the network, and I will put all of my channels down in the description so you can follow me on other social media as well. I will be mostly active on Twitter though, so make sure to follow me on Twitter if you want to stay in touch. If you have any questions, I will try to answer your comments when I have time. Let me know if any of this makes any sense, I guess. See you in the next video. Bye.